Article 1 and Congress. This is Lesson 20. This is an introduction to Congress, House districts, gerrymandering. Here is a photo of the United States Capitol building located in Washington, D.C., the Capitol building where Congress works. An aerial view of what we call Capitol Hill. The House side of the U.S. Capitol. The House side is on the left-hand side if you are facing Congress or the Capitol building from the main street. Here is a rear view of the House side. Inside the House chamber, where the members of the House of Representatives vote. They debate on the House floor. They cast their votes. Inside the House chamber has a gallery where visitors can sit in and watch the House of Representatives at work. The Senate side is on the other side of the Capitol building, the right-hand side if you're facing it from the front. Here's the Senate side from the rear view or from the back side of Capitol building. Inside the Senate chamber. The Senate chamber is smaller. The House chamber is larger. Just like the House chamber, there is a section for the gallery to come in, citizens to come in and watch your Senate at work. Okay, let's start our study of Congress by opening up our Constitution and opening up Article 1, Section 1. It begins, all legislative powers herein granted shall be vested in a Congress of the United States, which shall consist of a Senate and House of Representatives. Congress is the name of our national legislative body. Congress's main function is to make laws for the entire country. Our Congress, our national legislature, is bicameral. That means it has two houses or two chambers. The House of Representatives and the Senate. This was part of the Great Compromise or the Connecticut Compromise during the Constitutional Convention, a bicameral legislative body. The House of Representatives and the Senate. Terms of Congress. A term of Congress lasts 2 years. 2 years. It starts on January 3rd of odd numbered years. Odd numbered years. So this is 2017 when this video was made. So a new term of Congress started January 3rd of this year. It will last 2 years. A new Congress will be sworn in January 3rd of 2019. Each term of Congress has 2 sessions. A new session starts January 3rd and usually adjourns sometime in December. September is usually taken off. They call it the September recess. Special sessions are called in time of crisis when Congress is not in session or they are in recess. For example, September 11th, 2001, President George W. Bush called a special session of Congress to address it in response to 9/11. And Franklin Roosevelt in 1941 called a special session of Congress December 8th to address it after Pearl Harbor on December 7th. So special sessions are called usually in times of crisis. The president wants to address Congress. A joint session of Congress is when both chambers meet together, both houses meet together. This is when the president has a State of the Union address or a foreign leader may address Congress. It's a joint session. They're together. President Obama, in his last State of the Union address before he left office, notice sitting behind him is the Vice President, Joe Biden, and to the president's right is the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. These are the leaders of their respective chambers. That is why they are up there. The Vice President is the President of the Senate, and the Speaker is the Speaker of the House. President Obama addressing a joint session of Congress. Both the House and the Senate is in the same chamber. And again, this is on the House side. Another picture. Here is a picture of the Prime Minister of Israel addressing a joint session of Congress. Again, both chambers are present, or both the Senate and House members are present for this joint session. Requirements. House of Representatives to run for office. Article 1 says you have to be at least 25 years of age. You must live in the state that you represent. You usually live in that congressional district. Not always the case, but you usually live in the congressional district that you represent, but you must live in the state that you represent. And you must be a citizen for at least 7 years. So you are allowed to be a naturalized American and run for Congress. Of course, for president, you have to be native born. But for Congress, you can be naturalized. 7 years for the House. The House of Representatives is apportioned, that means divided up, based upon the population of each state. This is called proportional representation. Proportional representation based upon population. For example, New Hampshire, because of its population, gets 2 representatives. Louisiana, because of its population, gets 7 representatives. It's proportional to population, or relative to population. Each House member represents an area of a state, and that part of the state is called a congressional district. There are 435 House members. There are 435 congressional districts. 1 House member per congressional district. Since House members represent people living in an area of a state, the House of Representatives is known as the People's House. House members represent people in congressional districts. Senators, on the other hand, represent the entire state and look out for the state's interest. But House members look out for their constituents' interests from their congressional district. Each congressional district must have roughly the same number of constituents or people represented. The Supreme Court case that mandated that was Baker versus Carr in 1962. Each state is guaranteed 1 seat. I believe there are like 7 states in the United States that are so sparsely populated, they only have 1 House member. such as Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota. These states only have one House seat because of their population size. So in those states, the entire state is a congressional district. Each congressional district must be contiguous. That means touching or within the same area. And this is really important. Each state legislature is responsible for drawing congressional districts. The governor's not involved. Congress does not draw them. Each state legislature draws congressional districts. Our state legislature is called the General Assembly. We do not refer to it as the Congress of North Carolina. It's the General Assembly of North Carolina. It is responsible for drawing congressional districts in our state. Every 10 years, we have a population count. That's in the Constitution, that the Census Bureau counts the number of people living in each state to determine the population of each state, which determines the congressional representation in the House. Every 10 years, the House is reapportioned or redivided up according to the new census data. For example, in 2000, the 2000 census, the states in dark green, they lost 2 House seats. The states in light green lost 1 House seat. States in light blue gained a House seat, and states in dark blue gained 2 House seats. So you notice that the North and the Northeast are losing House seats, and the South and Southwest are gaining House seats. So migration in our country from what we call the Rust Belt, these are the northeastern states, down to the Sun Belt. That was in 2000. 2010, the Rust Belt continued to lose House seats, and the Sun Belt continued to gain House seats. Notice how Texas gained four seats from 2000 to 2010. Florida gained 2. North Carolina did not have an increase in 2010 from that census. But those northeastern states, again, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, losing House seats. This certainly affects the electoral map. Each state number of electoral votes is equal to its congressional representation, both House seats and senators. So North Carolina, for example, has 13 House seats, 2 senators, for a total of 15 electoral votes. Texas has 36 House seats, 2 Senate seats, 38 electoral votes. Look at California. California has 53 House seats, 2 Senate seats, 55 electoral votes in California. To win the presidency, you have to get to 270 electoral votes in order to win. That, of course, will be a later lesson. Okay, we're going to take a pause right now for Lesson 20 and pick up with the concept of gerrymandering in Lesson 21, a very important concept to understand how our House of Representatives works.